If you want to improve customer service, increase sales, and build customer loyalty, then pay attention to this episode as you're going to learn about how to leverage live chat, ChatGPT, and AI to improve not only customer support, but also as a highly effective customer acquisition channel. Do stay tuned. Welcome to the 2X e-commerce podcast. On today's episode, I'm joined by Marius Laza, who is the CCO or Chief Customer Officer at Tidio, a customer experience platform that serves over 300,000 e-commerce merchants globally, most of which are on the Shopify platform. Today, we discuss customer success and its importance in retention marketing and long-term e-commerce growth. You get to learn about how to leverage technology, particularly AI technology, in the right way and to optimize for customer success. So why should you listen to this episode? Well, firstly, you're going to learn about the benefits of using AI-powered chatbots and live chat for customer support and lead generation, as well as how to use it as a leverage to save time and improve communications. You'd also get to learn about the insights on making the most of your website traffic and turning more of your visitors into buyers by triggering the right chatbot at the right time. Finally, you'd understand the importance of live chat as an underrated customer acquisition channel and how it can provide instant gratification to customers and lead to upselling and voucher opportunities. So if you want to improve customer service, increase sales, and build customer loyalty, then pay attention. Without further ado, let's get started. Hey, Marius, welcome to the 2X e-commerce podcast.
Thanks for having me. Hey.
Fantastic. I've been looking forward to this conversation because I feel like customer success is a missing piece in a lot of the conversations we have on the 2X e-commerce podcast. And just given the depth of your experience, I just think you're the man to kind of guide us through, particularly in these trying times where every merchant, every operator is looking to leverage retention marketing for long-term growth. So who is Marius Laza? As in, who are you? I want to sort of you to take us back to your childhood and walk us through to you being CCO at Tidio today.
Well, there's a lot to unravel, both in my experience and also in customer success. So I think that's a nice match there as well. But for me, I always actually worked in technology, and I was always extremely passionate about technology even before I started working. So I always kind of had that bug of how can we use this, right? And even when I got my first job in technology, I think it was actually SEO article writing. I was thinking that I could probably do this for free because I'm having so much fun. So I was surprised that people were willing to pay me to do something on a computer, and that was just the beginning. So that was maybe 15 years ago, and I had about 5 years of kind of going through some SEO article writings, just a kind of a bit of content writing, a bit of marketing and community management, and that's where I started to get drawn towards customer success, customer experience. And we can even talk about kind of the buzzword behind customer success and what that means in a bit, I'm sure. But then I got the opportunity to work for a company called Instapage, which was all about landing pages and conversion rate optimization. And I built a global customer experience team, about 70, 80 people at one point, from all over the world, and kind of grew up the ranks to the VP of customer experience for them. So I was always kind of tied closely to customer success, conversion rate optimization, personalization. And then when I had the opportunity to join Tidio, of course, being a leader in customer experience, working for a customer experience platform, it's kind of a perfect match. So I really enjoyed the first year or so since I joined, working now with a bunch of online stores, but also other clients as well, and leveraging customer success to kind of increase sales.
That's very, very interesting. Now, prior to your SEO days, I also share SEO days with you. I know the impact of writing. What drew you to the net? what kind of teenage years did you have? I really want to go down to
Mhm,
understand who you are. I feel you're a techie
mhm,
by heart,
mhm.
but let's go a bit further back. What attracted you to the internet and the web?
Yeah, I don't think this is gonna be a surprise, but it was gaming, of course. So it must have been gaming, the getting the first computer and not being able to step away from it. And I'm not sure how it happened. Must be some typing speed game, but I'm actually a fairly fast typer. And for any of your friends out there that maybe are into that, I think my record is 136 words per minute or something, and I believe the
My
average is closer to 70.
yeah.
So fairly quickly I started getting into just typing, and then yeah, so it was definitely gaming for a very long time, and then I started kind of just using software. I think I yeah, I had a nice stint of building maps for Counter Strike. So actually using
Mm,
the program that builds maps. So I got into kind of mapping design as a teenager, and then I realized that maybe my typing speed is more suited towards writing articles real fast. So I
mm-hmm.
was able to really uh, put out some volume and maybe rival ChatGPT with my with my speed of writing articles in my teenage years. So, but yeah, it's definitely kind of gaming to writing.
Okay, interesting. And I also picked up the nice conversion or the more the bringing together personalization CRO to your role, your role with Instapage. Do you want to speak to the importance of having that understanding so you serve customers as best you can from a CS standpoint, so from a
Mhm.
customer success standpoint?
Mhm. Yeah, I like the opposite perspective, right? The perspective of the visitor. So I'm not even thinking about it from me as working at this company that does landing pages and conversion optimization, or now Tidio, which does customer experience, but me as the user of the internet, right? When you go online and you have an excellent experience, you don't really know the effort that went behind it. And I would venture to bet that whenever you had like something really unique, you kind of went through something very smoothly. You bought a product, you got something new, or even just browsed the internet and it was nice. There's actually some personalization behind it. There was a lot of SEO work. There was a lot of
Yeah.
marketing behind it, and you had a smooth and great experience because someone put a lot of effort into it, right? So to me, the shortest road to offering that experience is personalization. So you have to know who your visitors are so you can give them what they were looking for, right?
Mm,
Yeah. So I think that's kind of the thing that I'm trying to replicate and
yeah.
help our clients replicate for their visitors. So
Yeah.
people just have a better experience when they browsing the web, right? You want that for yourself, you should want that for your visitors.
Yeah. To help people, you need to know them. You need
Mhm,
to know them. That fundamental there. And let's talk about Tidio. What? How many merchants you've amassed a lot of reviews on the Shopify App Store. You seem to be predominantly e-commerce focused, particularly on the Shopify platform. Obviously, the biggest e-commerce platform on the planet right now. What is your size? How many merchants do you serve? And yeah, let's jump into that.
Yes, so we have a lot of strong metrics, I believe. So I think you already mentioned we're the highest rated app, and if you kind of search for Tidio anywhere, you're gonna see that we're always kind of at the top of the ranks. But we also have the volume behind it, so I really like that. We have about 300,000 active installs right now
Hmm.
globally. Uh, Mostly online stores, but also other websites as well.
Hmm.
And we're also getting about 500 million views of our widget every month. So massive volume and still an incredibly high satisfaction rate across the any networks should kind of tell the story of what we're trying to do, right? Um, so yeah, that's kind of where we're at in terms of those numbers. We have a team that's mostly based in Europe, about 200 people. We also have a few people in Latin
Wow.
America, someone in Canada as well. So we're kind of growing the team globally because we are working with clients from all over the world, right? And then we don't really have kind of that focus, maybe if you will. We really wanted to see if we can expand this to everyone, right? So we have the free plan on one end, we have Tidio Plus on the other end, which starts at like around $300 a month. But we have this volume because we kind of allow everyone in, right? If you're a small business, start slow. If you're a larger business and you need our help setting it up, we can do that for you. So you get a dedicated customer success manager, and kind of we work with you on that. But we have this range, and we're trying to work with it.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of merchants you're serving, and it warrants the size of the company. And I think I'd like to ask, with is majority of your team serve, customer success in that self, trying to help, this large volume, 200,000 plus, merchants who use or who generate 500 million, page views, through the Tidio app, essentially.
Yeah, we have to give credit to product, right? So a lot of it is self-serve. Anyone can kind of sign up, and again, we kind of have this open feature policy. So there's not really a lot behind any type of paywall. You can sign up and just use it, and you can use it yourself. So we actually leverage our own tool to automate some of this. So we have our own chatbot on our website within our application. So with kind of the high volumes of new signups that we get every day, they get in the product, and luckily kind of the product is set up in a way where you can be up and running. I think our average up and running time is 8 minutes. So you can be live in 8 minutes. You can use our own chatbots if you have any questions, you can reach out to our support team, of course, 24/5, which can help you. And that's kind of the most we can do with the high volume of users that we're getting. And that's when we get requests from like some of our larger signups, larger clients, where they do want that one-to-one relationship, and we do have a plan for that. So that's where we have the human intervention, but we were able to kind of automate product and chatbots to help the huge volume of merchants help themselves and build what they need to support their visitors.
Makes sense. So you're very product centric, and it reflects in the manpower behind Tidio. Right. Elephant in the room. We've been going back and forth on content prior to this interview on nuances, which is very important. I really want people to understand this. That could you explain the difference between customer support, CX, which is typically customer experience, and then customer success? They're all three different concepts, right?
Yes, and excited to talk about buzzwords and how people still see customer success as a buzzword. And I think they also saw AI as a buzzword right up until recently. And then ChatGPT finally showed some power behind it, right? Turning the buzzword into something sustainable. So I'm getting ahead of myself here a bit, but let's take it from the top. Customer experience is just kind of the full experience that your client has or your visitors have with your website. So that really goes beyond a department of customer experience or a customer support team. That's marketing, that's product, that's the true experience of someone going through your website, through your service, right? So that to me encompasses everything. And then you have customer support, which is a bit more traditional, a bit more reactive in my view. And I also think it's a solved problem. I don't want to undermine how difficult it is to offer excellent customer support. I managed customer support teams over the last 10 years. I was a customer support agent for a few years before that. So I know how hard it is to set it up. I know how hard it is to do it, but it is solved, right? Get multi-channel, take all of your channels in one place, set up a strong support team, have good internal procedures, set up your FAQs, set up your help center, maybe create some autoresponders in there, maybe a chat bot, and then you're kind of trying to find this match between first response time, you can be fast, and then quality, customer satisfaction rating, right? So if you can be fast, have high quality, and then you have everything in place, you can get there. So it might take a while, but you can get there. Solve customer support. Anything that's reactive can be fixed, right? Any problems, any questions, you have it done. And that's where customer success comes in, right? Is it just an interaction that happens in a bubble? You get a request and your support team fixes it. Is that enough? So we think it isn't. Customer success kind of takes that interaction and wants to get to the root of it. Who is this person? What problem did they have? Why? How did they get on our website? And what can we do to get them to come again and build a relationship with them? So it's really, to me, customer success is identifying the true needs of your customers, and then expanding that relationship by really understanding them.
So CX is the entire experience. Support is reactive, fixing issues. When shit hits a fan, it needs to be fixed, putting out fires. Success, from what I'm hearing you say, is understanding the customer and their needs, and seeing, okay, how can this be improved? How can they come back again? What happened? So is that right? Or
Yeah, I think it's
okay,
perfect.
right. So with success, what key metrics do you look at? From the explanation, it sounds very qualitative. I'm sure it's quantitative
Mhm,
because you need to sort of apply it at scale.
mhm,
How should merchants sort of approach customer success?
mhm. Yeah, and I think there is a tiny bit of overlap, right? And actually, even in my own job, right, with my customer support and success teams, I do run a lot of meetings together, customer success managers with support agents at the same time, right? So to me, that overlap might be even a CSAT and an NPS survey, right? So you might want to learn about the quality of your interaction with your support team, but also how does that person feel about the product or the service that you're selling, right? So those survey metrics, those NPS scores, start kind of becoming those the first customer success metrics that you could be looking at. But
Mm-hmm.
then it heavily goes outside of customer support with even sales. You can increase sales with customer success, right?
Right.
That's where you're identifying opportunities within a support interaction and upselling your visitor, or cross-selling, or doing any type of lead generation activity. So now you have a plain support interaction that turn into something that generates revenue. So I do think you can have revenue metrics for customer success. And of course, traditionally, I come from a software as a service background, so retention and churn is huge. So you can apply some of the learnings from customer success in SaaS in customer success in e-commerce.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So with customer success, it's also looking at the unknown shopper, and they might have questions. For instance, they like I tend to ask questions, sometimes on e-commerce experiences that I have, just because I might have shipping concerns, or I might have product quality concerns, or just usage concerns, and I'm speaking to someone, live chatting with them, interacting with them. You would say that that's a customer success, activity, right? As compared to a customer support, which customer support is essentially supporting an existing customer, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Again, a bit of overlap, and for
Mhm.
example, there are tools like ours that leverage both. So now you have a client about to ask about their shipping issue, and you can wait for the question and respond to it, which is more traditional reactive customer support. Or the system can detect that they have an open order with a shipping delay, so it can even automatically respond and say that, hey, you're probably asking about this order, and it is delayed, right? Do you need more
Hmm.
help?
Hmm.
So that does kind of blend the customer support, customer success kind of aspect behind it. But the point is, what about the visitor interaction? How do they feel? Did they feel the difference of not having to chase down an answer, and just understanding, oh, this company knows me, they know what I need, and they're here for me.
Interesting. With regards to resolution, coming resolution solutions, as well as pre-sale inquiries, what is the data suggesting in terms of communication channels in e-commerce? Are customers or shoppers gravitating more towards instant chat for instant feedback so they can make decisions, or get information, or are they willing for typically the drag with email? I use, I recently purchased a flask. I went back to, I had issues with leakage, and email is just slow.
Yeah.
Now obviously it might be just their issues with customer support in terms of their resolution times, but what does the data show in terms of from a convenience standpoint, where are customers actually interacting with brands? Where do they feel most convenient? There's sports with choice, but where do you see a lot of customers actually use what channels?
Yeah, we talk about this a lot with our clients, and the short answer is clearly live chat. People want to talk instantly, and I'm kind of being fully transparent here that they want to talk to a real person. So that's still a big thing in the space right now. We have obviously very powerful chatbots, and now with ChatGPT out as well, that there's like I think solid technology that can automate this, but there's still a stigma against it. So I would say that the channel is live chat, talking to a real person, getting an answer quickly, and it is mimicking the real life experience, right? You go to a store, you expect to find a person, and we hear about this constantly. We want to have the real life in-store experience online, and we're afraid that the chatbot can't do it. And I think that the reason why is that we've all seen a bunch of very underwhelming chatbots going online, and we know how wrong it can go, but it can also go right if you do it correct.
What about availability? So not every team has the ability to be available every 20, for 24 hours.
Mhm,
And, so with chats, there's an availability
mhm,
challenge or requirement for it to work really well.
mhm. I think I need you on my sales team because that's what we do when we pitch it, because that's the inevitable conversation that happens. So people want that real life experience, personalized experience. They have agents and they can do it. And then we ask them, what about on the weekend? And more often than not, they don't have people on the weekend that are online. What about during the night? And that's the same issue. And what about for repetitive questions, right? You get the same question every time. It's truly wasteful for everyone if you just go in with a generic answer. So all of these cases um, go to the chatbot, right? So
Mm.
now you can create a chatbot that can at least, if even if you have 24/7 availability, at the very least the chatbot can route questions to the right people, right? They can answer the most basic questions, and I think everyone agrees that you want to get an instant answer, and if a chatbot can deliver it, that's still really good. You don't have to talk to a real person.
From an agent perspective, is there what interfaces do they log into a Tidio app? How let's say I want to give our team team of three CX or CS support agent Tidio access. So on a weekend, let's say they're something pops up. How do they relate with customers if they're not necessarily at their desk?
Mhm. Yeah, we have the full spectrum of it. So you go into the dashboard where we have the connection. So you have the live chat, we have ticketing, we have multi-channel. So we connect to your Instagram, to your Facebook, to your
Mm,
to your email, and of course on your website as well. So you know for sure that all of the conversations land in the dashboard, so you can see them there, and you also know for sure that they are tied together, right? So if someone reacts on
mm,
Instagram, you can see the full conversation, not just like a standalone question, but the history of the conversation with that person.
mm,
So you can answer directly. You can do it from your mobile phone. We have our Tidio mobile app as well. So if you're on the run, if you're
yeah.
just getting started, and of course, you really want to be there and people get very excited with their first few clients, you might just want to answer from your phone wherever you might be.
Yeah.
And then is where you start kind of working with the chatbot, right? Okay, these are my working hours. If I'm offline, then the chatbot comes in. But if I'm
Mm,
online, I can just answer myself. And
okay.
yeah, so that's kind of how that dashboard experience works.
Yeah, super interesting. I didn't know there was a mobile app, but it's so convenient to have a mobile app. I remember when I was so excited about Shopify,
Mhm.
had my first store, and I had the app, and it would just give me the cha-ching, cha-ching. I just love those notifications, right? And knowing that someone on the other side it needs your help, and it
Yeah.
pops up on your phone. You do the same if you would like a WhatsApp. Somebody reach out, your friend or a client reach out to you on WhatsApp, you will respond. So that's amazing that there's a Tidio, app right
Yeah.
there, which
And
makes
here, yeah, sorry to interrupt you. And here's a big thing as well, right? Because that's exactly what happens. But the thing that I see the most and pains me the most when I talk to our clients is when they get their first visitors. It's gonna take a while until they get their first interaction, right? So
mm-hmm.
you should be very excited when you get your first visitor on your new online store, when you get your 10th, your 100th visitor. But it's going to take a bit until you get your first order and the first interaction, right? So
Mm-hmm.
with our platform, you can actually see your active visitors on the site. So you can kind of snoop around and see, oh, this is the first visitor. Maybe they don't have a question, but maybe I can reach out to them, right?
Mm.
Maybe they spent more than 5 minutes on this product page. I'm just going to start the chat myself and type something in and
Mm.
ask them if they need any helps, right? So we really feel like people are spending a lot of effort into bringing that traffic, and of course, a small percentage of it has intent to talk to the support team,
Mm.
but most of them are browsing and won't really reach out to you. So now's your time to maybe reach out to them and interact. And it actually goes even way beyond that, because you don't even have to be kind of interface and pop out and say something. You can just tag them maybe for the next time, right? This visitor came in, so next time when they come again, I'm gonna know that it's their second visit. So
Mm.
a lot of the chatbot automation work actually happens on the back end without the client seeing anything or knowing, and it just kind of feeds your customer profile, so you understand your user base a bit better. This customer spent a lot of time on this page. This customer came in for the fourth time.
Mm.
This customer is coming from this location. So a lot of it is just kind of building that customer visitor profile, so you know who's on your website and learn from them.
That's interesting. What about the other piece of like ticketing? So there's an issue. I
Mhm.
reach out to you. My order is meant to come in today. It's not here. We've tracked it. It seems to be stock. That's a ticket. What happened?
Yes, so within the same dashboard, in our case, we convert chats, live chats into tickets, right? That's in many ways the escalation method, right? Not despite our best efforts, not everything can be handled on the spot. So when you want to have kind of the ability to go back to a ticket, you just turn a chat into a ticket, and you can even do the opposite and turn the ticket conversation into a chat. So everything still stays in the same panel, so you still are getting even this profile of customer interactions that has nice timeline that you can go back to.
Okay, so what I'm getting now is that Tidio is an alternative to typical customer support platforms with the ability to interact one to one through its chatting system.
Yeah, absolutely. We,
Okay.
we cover everything.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. I have another question around customer success. The different types of merchants that listen to the show.
Mm-hmm.
The merchants who are starting out, they're processing just about 1,000 orders a month, which I'd say they're in the 1 million or so revenue mark. You have some processing 5,000 orders a month. I'll put them in the 5 million bracket, and you have others processing 10 plus thousand orders a month. I'll put them in the 10 million plus. So in these brackets, how and I'm sure you guys have customers in each of these brackets. What are the best practices for customer success for these caliber of teams, 1,000, 5,000 orders and 10,000 orders? How many issues, how many interactions rather, let's not be negative with issues, how many interactions should they expect? And how should they sort of structure their teams, structure their processes in order to maximize this, their NPS scores, and and just be the best they can from a CS standpoint.
Yeah, and I think you'd be surprised to see we do get people that before Tidio they only had the contact us button. You go to contact us, you click on an email address, it opens your Outlook or something. So then they turn on Tidio and you get like massive volume almost instantly, right? So you don't even know how to stop it, right? So I think at the beginning there's always an operation person, and it just might be you the only person dealing with everything, but that means that you're now the head of customer experience, you're the operations person, and you have to do it. And I'm also curious to know your thoughts, because I know that this is your background as well. But I feel like at the beginning you have to have someone to set it up, and it might be you, and that's okay. And volume fluctuates, of course. For most people, it is low at the beginning, so you that kind of gives you the luxury of time, and maybe you can set up something, set up some automations, and think about kind of the structure of your support system, right? And then, of course, whenever an interaction pops up, that's an opportunity for a sale. So you can throw in some customer success as well. But that's kind of small businesses just getting started. They have a bit of the luxury of time. They do need to have some type of operational work behind it to set everything up, and then they just wait. And of course, it's so important when you hit that notification, right? Because every sale counts. So now is not the time to miss a sale, and that's kind of why we even have this notify operator system, notify the team when someone important is on your website.
Yeah.
So you can really set it up in many different ways to make the most of the small traffic that you have.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of covers this small segment, right? And then you go into the middle, and maybe I'm not sure how you want to call it, maybe kind of the scale of part of the business, right? And that's when you would actually get the first team members, operators, people that can actually do this for you, right? So you might have your first operators, and we actually have had a pretty nice story that's not officially out yet, of how we did it as you are scaling, and how we got to up to 10 support agents, and then the volume kept growing and it actually doubled. But we didn't have to hire 20 support agents. So for a while we stopped at around 10, despite the volume doubling, because we managed to create chatbots that were basically assistants to each support person. So for every support person, the chatbot took 50% of that volume. It took us about 3 months to set it up, so I don't want to recognize that it's considerable time, and still the need of an operations person, maybe a dedicated operations person at this point is crucial. But for us, it saved like double the head count, and the chatbot itself does as much work as 10 support agents. That's what we had at the time. Now we have a bit more, and the volume has increased even larger. But yeah.
Yeah. So, no, super interesting when you mentioned an assistant through the chatbot. I don't know. I've either journaled this or I've posted this to social media, whereby I've said like this chat GPT error or tool should be an assistant in your organization. Whether it's for copywriting, whether it's for CX, whether it's for writing cold emails, every employee should have chat GPT, a use case for chat GPT to improve and increase their productivity.
Mm-hmm.
And you just mentioned in the fact that it took you 2 months to build it out for these 10 employees, but their productivity has doubled essentially because they don't have that availability. There's some bot there helping, AI bot helping. So it's profound in that sense of what you just said. What about the scale? You're now really ultra scaling. You're doing 10, 50,000 orders a month. What should your CS look like, and availability? And I know this is very nuanced. A merchant selling furniture would have a completely use case to a merchant selling, say, protein shakes. I understand that, but how does customer success actually change at that scale in e-commerce?
Yeah, and also this is where it starts to really matter, right? I mean, the 1% increase in conversion rate at that scale can really have an impact on your ROI, right? I really like this part of any business, right? As they get there, and when they are there, because we know that we can go in, make a small change and make a massive ROI impact, get them to sell a lot more. So it's a lot of strategy. I feel like this is where you have a lot of strategy. This is where you have a lot of trial and error. You can think about kind of the old days of A/B testing, just pure conversion optimization, because at the end of the day, that's kind of what you're doing with kind of building, even if you want to stay in the chatbot space, even using the chatbots and kind of automation to your advantage. So I want to give some even specific examples, right? The difference between now that you have a large book of business, you have a large set of customers and former visitors on your website. When they jump in and they have an interaction, there should be some type of internal notification for your support agents, or your live support agents, saying that this client has purchased this product before, or this client is returning for the third time, right? And this is all of that hidden automation that people don't really talk about. Start talking about chatbots, everyone believes that it's some type of pop-up, right, or something that
Mm-hmm.
where you type in, please take me to a real person, or I want to talk to a live agent. That's not it. I would venture to say that I don't have the full data, but I would say that at least half of our automation is actually hidden, and at scale, it makes that impact. So still, you have to have your support agents, you have to have the operations person, and you might get into strategy quite a bit, so you can properly set up these chatbots. On our plan Tidio Plus, we do it for our clients, so they can skip the learning curve, and they
Mm-hmm.
can just get to the results.
So what I'm hearing from what you just said is this is context. It's really about getting deeper on who we speaking with. You know, a lady walks into a say a a yoga outfit store, and she fits the profile of someone who's going to who's purchased in the past, who
Mhm,
purchased, and so that familiarity
mhm,
from the from your support person or your sales rep essentially has to be there, in a store environment, and so you just usher her to you just do what she expects you to do, whether it's to leave
yeah,
her alone till she asks you a question, or you reach out to her and say hello, how what are you looking for, and all of that stuff. So there's that context, right?
yes.
You need to sort of implement when you're scaling, and
Mhm,
that should help you sort of help them faster so you
mhm.
could get into the next one and it increases your efficiency.
Mhm. Yeah, and that it's things that you don't even think about. Like, are they visiting from mobile or from their desktop, right? Maybe she's on her way to yoga. Are you gonna maybe drop the pleasantries? Just give her the order number or whatever she's looking for. If
Hmm.
she's in the car, or she's on a bus or something, so she's probably trying to make this interaction fast. So if you have that information, if you identify a cohort of users that are always on the run, maybe you want to slightly adjust the customer experience for them. If they're on a browser, on their desktop, on their computer at home, now's the time to maybe take your time and do like a deeper interaction. So
Mm.
it's small things like this, but you start noticing behavior patterns. Start noticing segments when you have the traffic, when you have the volume. So at scale, everything becomes a bit more powerful. The impact is a bit bigger, right? And the ROI can be massive. So that's why
Mm.
this kind of this scale, the full scale segment of our users, our clients, get really a lot of value, and I really enjoy kind of working with them on these projects.
Super interesting. Super interesting. Thank you. Thank you for that, Marius. Let's speak to ChatGPT and an AI powered tech. I I put together in my predictions episode, one of the first episodes this year. I was like, there is a need for store owners to have right now in the Shopify ecosystem with the power of the APIs to have AI connect to first party data within Shopify. So this AI bot is essentially aware of all of the orders, their statuses, all of your customer information, and at the snap of a finger, you can either query it and say, who's ordered over $200 today, and it just makes you agile. It's almost like a query engine, and on the one hand, and it also is from a chatbot or a customer success perspective, just make your chatbot cleverer.
Mhm,
So your chatbot is also able to know, okay, this person has purchased from us 7 times in the last 12 months. They are a VIP customer, and so there's a better turnkey solution, especially if there's no agent, or when they're about to hand over to an agent, they give that agent that context, and the experience for that person is totally different to someone who's just exploring and researching and trying to figure out what to do. Do
mhm.
you agree, or have I left certain bits out of that use case?
Um, I think there are. even more use cases, of course, and but I think you covered it quite well. And so it seems like you agree, right? It's finally happening. It's not a buzzword anymore. I think it's very hard to deny at this point. And what we're gonna see moving forward, I think it's really gonna solidify the power of AI used correctly, right? We're doing a bit of that. We have 5 AI features already. So we started a bit earlier, almost 2 years ago, I believe, with the first AI features, and that there are some that are almost perfect for what you would need, right? Um, think about support teams and just regular questions, right? Where do you go as a support agent? You go to your internal knowledge base, or in a lot of cases, you might even have the article in the public help center. So it's probably one of the two. I would say, like, we probably see like over 90% of questions are questions that exist somewhere in the either external or internal knowledge base. With just standard NLP model AI, you can have the chatbot learn your internal knowledge base, learn your external help center, pick up on the answers, and it's it's perfect. In many interactions, it's just perfect. It gives the perfect answer quickly. It doesn't send your client on a wild goose chase with a link. It doesn't have to do that. And you've seen ChatGPT and how precise it can be with the answer if it has the knowledge. So we have kind of this trigger called visitor says. So the client doesn't have to take the responsibility of asking the perfect question. We
Mm,
identify questions regardless of how you ask them. You can have spelling errors. You can ask it in 10 different ways. The chatbot would recognize what you're talking about and give you the proper answer at the
mm.
right time. And this is actually like our core AI feature that we had for quite some time, and we're working on some really advanced stuff already, and I
Mm.
can even share some with you.
That's incredible because that product expertise, product awareness, especially for merchants selling somewhat complex or you know complex or hard to use products that need instructions. If the AI is able to just cut through all the chase, understand, go through the manuals, it'll be so helpful. And what do you think about the future of the the customer, success and customer support teams? Are they going to shrink off the
Mhm,
back of AI?
mhm,
With Chat GPT, the ability for it to be really articulate, based on the data set it's referencing is just incredible. How do you think it's going to impact on chat, particularly now in 2023, where margins are being hit by
yeah,
inflation?
yeah.
What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I like this scaling without having to scale the team, right? You're scaling your revenue, you're
Mm,
getting more orders, but you don't have to grow the team. And this is kind of exactly what we did with my example, with our team getting to like the support members, and then the company doubling, tripling in size without having to hire additional support people, right? And for that, even like this is maybe the more conservative approach, but I think it's valid, and I think people are right to do so. We have a feature that we call the magic wand. So instead of just using the chatbot to give the answer and have a full AI interaction, we have the support agents type in an answer and then use the magic wand to get a suggestion from the AI, or rephrase the question even,
yeah,
or the answer. So we believe that that's like a very nice baby step towards the
yeah,
the solution.
yeah,
And we were playing around with like um, writing a really quick answer. No, we don't have the product. And then you click on the magic wand and it says, I'm sorry for the inconvenience. It looks like we don't have the product in the stock right now.
yeah,
We're going to get it on this date. And then you turn a 1 minute interaction into a 5 second interaction. You
yeah,
just click send, and your support team is now supercharged and can handle a lot
yeah.
more requests. You have the confidence that the answer are still perfect. Of course, they can edit the answer before they choose to send. So I really think it's just gonna increase the scale of what the support person can do.
It takes me to two questions. One is tone of voice.
Mm,
So some brands, if you're buying from Kylie Cosmetics, it's a totally different experience than if you're buying from Tesla. Just two extremes, right? Um, so the AI, does it adapt to tone of voice?
Mhm. Yeah, so again, we've been playing around with the so we do use ChatGPT for this, and we've been playing around with the
Ah, you
engine
use
quite a bit. So
ChatGPT.
yeah, yeah,
Wow. Sorry.
we have the full connection. We actually have our own AI models as well, but we also leverage their platform.
Ah,
So
okay.
you have the full power of what you see in all of those TikTok videos online. And what we were playing around with was like respond in rap form. So we did have like a bunch of internal rap responses. Of course, you can give it the tone, but I do think you need to get to like, of course, our larger clients do have their own
Yeah.
brand voice.
Yeah.
They do have that. So uh, we are working on kind of training the model to recognize.
Yeah.
And again, it's kind of using your own internal answers, internal knowledge base. So then
Yeah.
you can really find your voice. Right now, it can do like different types of voice. Of course, it can make the message friendlier, or it can make the message more exciting or
Yeah.
shorter. So that's straightforward. And then as you go into very specific brand tone, I think we're getting there. So we're
Yeah.
gonna get this.
I ran a woman's brand. You know, one of my experiments back in the day, a woman's fashion brand,
Mhm,
and we're processing like 100 orders a day with that brand. And one thing I noticed, because we're targeting, initially we were targeting 18 to 24 year olds, and we fast realized that 18 to 24 year olds are broke.
mhm,
They don't have much money. They want to buy like $20 dresses, right? So we started to look at the more but the interesting thing is, at that demographic, there's a certain way we have to talk to
mhm,
just get them, hey, yeah, yay, all that stuff. And the brand was even called Miss Slay,
mhm,
Slay and all that stuff. And we then moved on to the 30 plus demographic and started to sell like bandage dresses, dresses that you'd use for a date,
mhm,
when you're looking for maybe your partner for life, those kind of dresses. Or you have an event, like a gala or whatever. And the AOV grew, and we had to also change our tone of voice. I think, yeah, that would be interesting. The other use case is if, like, you have resources for customer service that are yeah. So I'll give you the example again. I just need to go back to that story. And so we had this amazing customer support rep. Her name was Mariana, and she was in the Philippines, and she got the culture.
mhm,
She got, because she was like a social media. She knew all the celebrities and all the all the female influencers. So she got that tone of voice.
mhm,
And when she left us, it really left a gap in
mhm,
sort of the communication, because that was a tone of voice we really wanted to connect with. And I guess if you then have something like the magic wand feature in Tidio, you're able to sort of normalize anybody's tone of voice, from whether you have offshore resources, or even inshore, and they just don't get the tone of voice per se, and kind of normalize it. And what do you think about that use case?
Yeah, and it's all about the volume again, right? So you have enough
Mm,
volume, you have enough conversations, and then you can trade the model. And I do think it's the still the two-stage approach, right? And the
mm,
first stage is freeing up some time for Mariana to kind of work in her zone of genius.
yeah.
She can really work with clients, talk to clients, and then when she has to answer like a boring support question, she can use the magic wand, send the answer, and that's fine. The magic wand might even work in her own voice anyway, so you all know the difference. But
Hmm.
she can spend more of her time kind of doing what she likes and kind of talking to clients and really understanding them. And we also noticed that, right? We're freeing up some time for our support team, and now we have like a one or two support people that are masters at lead generation. They notice that this client, okay, they have a question and I fix the problem, but they could do much more on Tidio Plus. Let me send them to the sales team, and before you know it, we're getting leads for the sales team from support
Mm,
interactions where before talking to two people at the same time, three people at the same time, you don't have time to really think about,
mm,
okay, we fixed the problem, but they actually need an implementation specialist here so we can build a stronger chatbot for them. So let me send them to Tidio Plus. So a lot of these things didn't happen before because we didn't have the time, like you know how support agents are when they have to multitask. It's really difficult. So we're freeing up the time, and they can do a bit of both. And of course, stage two is having kind of the AI do some of that work as well.
amazing, interesting. I'll just add to say that live chat is the most underrated customer acquisition channel. Brands are not leveraging enough, I have to say. because a lot of people have questions. It's so important not to delay that instant gratification people have, because they're ready with their credit cards.
Mhm.
From my experience, and especially in fashion, and like, would this fit?
Mhm.
Would this dress fit? And they'll have read the description, but they just don't want to go back and forth, right?
Yeah.
And they just need that answer, and that answer, and then you could upsell, you could give them a voucher, there's so much stuff you could do off the back of live chat, because you have that opportunity to speak to them one on one, live. Okay, final question I have to wrap this up is, what are your suggestions, or what's your advice to e-commerce brands 2023? In most sectors, there are many headwinds. Just customer just customer demand is a bit suppressed, a bit, not necessarily in every sector. How should merchants navigate, operators navigate growth through customer success in 2023?
Mhm. Yeah, and it goes back to what we talked about, I think, at the beginning as well, because it is about making the most of your traffic, right? You're getting that traffic, and I still have a hope that usually it's high intent traffic that you're getting. Maybe marketing teams, of course, are doing their best to do that. But in my experience with clients, you would be surprised to see kind of that relationship between traffic and sales, right? We have a bunch of clients that have kind of mid-level traffic, but incredible sales. You would be shocked or surprised to see
Mm.
how much they are able to sell by getting the very high intent traffic and then turning more of their visitors into buyers by triggering the right chatbot at the right time, if you want to put it that way. But um, building that nice flow of understanding. Let's see what we were able to bring on the website, and then what they're looking for, and if we can give them that. I think that's critical. So for that, you don't need the volume. You can survive the headwind. I think there is a wave now with Chat GPT and kind of the advancements in technology. So you do have to make the most of what you have, right? So it's not about bringing even more people to your website, bringing the right people, and then leveraging technology in the right way to get the job done.
Amazing, incredible stuff, incredible stuff. Marius, we could go on and on and on, but it's been an incredible conversation I've had with you, Laza from Tidio. Thank you for coming on the 2x e-commerce podcast.
Thanks for having me. It was great.